Today is a very special episode. We are making apple pie for the 500th subscriber to my YouTube channel. That's right, you heard it. I made an apple pie and delivered it to the person who is the 500th subscriber. I'm gonna share my mom's very secret apple pie recipe with you. Let's get at it. Our first step is to sift our dry ingredients together. Today I am making a double batch because I'm going to be making 2 pies. So this is the measurements for a double batch. 4 cups of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm gonna gently tap the flour. There we go. To this, we are going to cut in 2 cups of shortening. I've just used the box to measure it. Now to start, I'm just gonna take my knife and kind of chunk it up, and then we're gonna finish with our fork. You don't want to use a mixer for this, and the reason why is that it's going to cut it in at such a rate that it will create heat and friction. And that is gonna cause our shortening to slightly, ever so slightly melt and bond with the flour. We're trying to make a flaky pastry, and we don't want that at all. We want this to just kind of sit in with the flour and not necessarily combine that way with the flour. Okay, so now I'm gonna move to my fork. This is just, let's move this up so you can see a little better. This is just a regular fork, and I'm just going to press against the sides to push that shortening into the flour. Okay, we're going to just keep cutting in until we kind of have it like sandy, pebbly. We don't want these big chunks like that. Okay, see this texture here? Well, not that one, but the smaller ones, this is what I'm going for. So I'm just gonna continue until I've got that done. It'll take me a few minutes. Okay, you can see I've got everything kind of pebbled up. I have used the knife to assist in breaking everything up nicely. You know, if you've got a few large chunks, that's okay. The idea is you want to get the main ones in. We are gonna roll this out, and those large chunks will flatten out. And now we're going to add 1 cup of cold water. Now it's really important that this is cold water. In fact, when I set mine on the counter, it still had some ice in it. So the ice has melted, and this water is nice and cold. And again, the purpose is we don't want to melt our shortening. We don't want to create any heat that's going to melt that shortening. And then I'm going to continue with a wooden spoon, I think. This will all incorporate in, I promise. Okay, I'm going to set this aside now. We're going to portion this out into 4. So I'm just going to kind of roughly cut it in half just to give my eyeball an idea of what a quarter is going to look like. Just going to get set up to roll this out now. Normally I would use wax paper for this, but I don't have any at the moment, so I'm going to use parchment paper. And I'm going to take the quarter of my dough, and this is the first time I'm touching my dough, and I'm just going to kind of press it into a bit of a round, just loosely. I don't want to press it too much. Not that I don't want to press it, I just don't want to handle it with my hands too much. Lay your other piece of parchment paper on top. We're going to roll it out. So we're going to start from the center and roll to the edge. And we're going to keep doing that around. Trying to keep it in a circular shape. Oops. Just going to keep rolling. Just press gently down. Now here's what I'm going to do. Because this keeps sliding around, I am going to take the little edge of the wax or the parchment paper and hang it over the edge, and then I'm going to push my stomach against it, and that is going to hold it so that it doesn't go away from me when I'm rolling. You can sprinkle a little bit of flour in here to help it move, which is exactly what I'm gonna do at this point now that I've kind of got it spread out. You do not want to add a lot of flour, but I do want to add a little bit so that it moves around easier. If it's starting to stick in a spot, just move to another spot and peel towards where it's sticking. There we go. All right, so I've got my pie plate and I can see that this dough is going to be plenty wide enough to fold over the edges and give me a bit of a lip on my pie. Okay, so we are going to flip this over now and gently peel the top off. And I'm going to kind of ease the edges down into the center. We're going to take the fork that we used earlier and we're going to prick the bottom. This is going to prevent air bubbles from forming when it cooks, and around the sides. There we go, that looks good. And I am just going to cover this with the paper while we get our filling ready. The remaining dough I'm just going to put in a Ziploc bag until we're ready to use so that it doesn't dry out. Okay, let's just set that aside and work on our filling. And now we're gonna take 6 Cortland apples and we're gonna peel and slice them up. It's really important that you use Cortland. I know some people say Granny Smith because they're firmer, but trust me, Cortland is the apple you want for this. You could use an apple core slicer if you want. I'm just gonna do it by hand. So the slices I end up with that are going to go in the pie are about this thick. And I'm going to continue to do this until I have all 6 apples done. I'll catch you back in a minute. Okay, our apples are all sliced and now it's time to get on with the rest of the process. We're going to grab our pie plate and we need to mix our spices now. Just want to make sure you can see this. Let's set the pie right there for now. So to a bowl, we are going to add 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour. We're going to take our fork and mix those together until they're well incorporated. And we're going to take half a cup of this mixture and sprinkle it on the bottom of our pie plate. So our dough has not been cooked yet. Now we're going to add our apples and just dump them right in. Make sure you get them all. Okay, that looks better. What do you think? To our sugar flour mixture, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Use our fork to give that a nice mix in. That looks lovely. And now we're gonna just sprinkle it on top of the pie. All right, clean up a spot. And now we're gonna dot the top with butter. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just go with your gut on this one. And now we're gonna roll out the top of our pastry, or our pie. So I have the parchment that I used earlier, and I'm just gonna sprinkle a little flour on that. It's got some bits of dough and stickiness to it, right? Because we rolled out on it already, and we don't want our new dough to stick to it. Okay, so we have our dough. Gonna, again, just make a flat kind of thick pancake to begin with so it's in the right shape-ish. And this time again I'm going to sprinkle a little flour because our parchment has already been rolled out on one. If you find it feels like it's starting to stick to the top, just peel the parchment back and add just the ever light dusting of flour. I think that looks good. And I'm going to do this part the way my mom does it. So I'm going to take a little bit of flour and just sprinkle over the top. And the reason is I don't want this to stick because I'm going to fold it in half. Lift the edge and fold it in half. Just rub a little more on. And now we're going to do the fancy part. I'm going to do a diagonal, a big one, and then a little one, and a little one. Because that's how my mom does it. Okay, we're going to fold that into a quarter. And I'll show you why, because that's going to help us center this dough. Just put it back on. Peel it off onto my hand. Get rid of the paper. Put it right in the center. I need to put that butter over there. Spread it out. It looks nice, like pie already, right guys? Now we're gonna take our knife and I'm just gonna trim some of this really big extra hanging dough off. So I wanna show you. I think it'll be easier to show you on here because you can see this has a little bit of a handle. So see how the inside is here, and I do have some overhang, and I want a little bit of overhang. Let's say probably, I think an inch is fair. If you can get it, if you can't, like here, that's fine. It's a pie, it's not rocket science. Okay. Just gonna continue to trim that all the way around. Let's start on a side that, see the bottom piece, and here's our top piece. And all I'm gonna do is just roll this under. And I'm gonna continue all the way around, just rolling the top under. I'm not gonna be too fussy about it at this point because we're still gonna shape it a little bit more. If you have a spot that's a little lacking, that's okay. Just roll it under as much as you can. If you get a spot that's thicker, start from the thicker and kind of work towards a slightly thinner part. So now I am going to shape it. I'm just going to shape it by pinching. So this finger goes here, my thumb kind of goes slightly beside it, and then I'm going to pinch it back here. See it again, finger, thumb, and I'm going to pinch it. I'm just going to do that all the way around. This is going to be a rustic looking pie. You can get fancy pie edgers. I like the rusty look. All right. This extra dough is going to be mixed in with the next batch of dough that I make, or you could make a little tartlet with it or just freeze it and save it. And now what I like to do, my mom doesn't do this, but I do like to do this, is I like to sprinkle a little sugar on top before I bake it. There we go. Now pretty. We're gonna bake this at 450 degrees for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna turn the heat down to 350 degrees and continue cooking it for half an hour. And we'll know it's done when the inside is all juicy and bubbling out this top. So if you don't have a bubble, it's not bubbling hot out here, it's not done yet, and let it keep going. All right, I'll be back. And it's done. I want you to see how it's bubbling still. Like it's so hot, it's still bubbling right there. See it, guys? And over here too. So that's how we know it's done. I did have to add probably about 10 minutes extra on this. We're just gonna let that cool for a little while, and I'm gonna go finish getting ready so we can deliver our pie. Be back soon. Made an apple pie using my mom's secret apple pie recipe. And today we are going to get to give it to the 500th subscriber. So let's go do that. Congratulations, Jason. You are the 500th subscriber. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
and
you.
it is still warm, my mom's apple pie.
Well, gladly accept this pie. Thank you so much.
It was so exciting. Let's have a taste test and see how good we got. All right, I'm gonna set the pie down and I'm gonna cut it. And then we'll eat it. So my mom is the best pie maker, and this is her recipe. She shared it with me, and she gave me permission to share it with you guys. I will say I am short an apple because I put the extra apple in Jason's pie, who was the 500th subscriber. All right, let's get this out. Let's maybe put our plate over here. The crust looks perfectly flaky. Here it is, guys. Carolyn Atchison's apple pie. This wins awards. She makes this for everybody. Let's take a taste. The crust turned out perfect and flaky. I think you can see it kind of, oops, there we go. Watch the camera, Shayna. You can see that how flaky my crust is. The apples are delicious and flavored just perfectly. So yeah, my mom's apple pie. Give it a try. It's even better if you put a thick slice of cheddar on top and serve it with vanilla ice cream. Thank you for watching. Please follow, like, and subscribe. What are we gonna do for 1,000? I'm open to suggestions. All right, bye.